Hey guys, this is Adrian here and welcome to a new release. Today we're releasing Avo 2.15. This is going to be an asset related and styling related release. And let's just dive in. So as usual, we'll go bottom up. First of all, Ian, thank you so much for helping out. I mean, you're an example to us. Whenever you had an issue, you tried to fix it, you PR'd it, or whenever you found like different bugs or just had features to put in. This is a source available project. This is a paid product. It has like a free and a paid version, but this is how we saw things when we left Avo source available. So whenever you have an issue, instead of just pushing an issue and waiting for us to fix it, we'd love to get PRs and have things fixed by the community. So thank you, Ian, for your work. So we refactored a little bit how we handle errors from avohq.io, so license errors. So we had a downtime, like a few minutes last week of downtime for our licensing server, and now we made it so like if we have downtime, you don't have downtime with Avo, so everything should work properly. So this should be like a very good thing added to Avo. Minor branding config fix, nothing to worry about. Remove safe constant types were not needed. Thank you, Ian. Minor assets refactor, we just changed the naming somewhere. But let's get into the nitty gritty. So Bugfixes, standalone actions render on empty table. So what happened was whenever you would have a table without records, you would actually see an error in the console. Which does not happen anymore. So that's perfect. Thank you, Paul. Secret key base. So in the last release, we pushed out this feature, the select all matching. So now I selected 12 records on this page, but maybe we want to select all 39 records in total. And we can do that. Please take advantage of this feature. And when we did that, we are actually using we need an encryption key. So we were using the secret key base and Rails application secrets, but we weren't using the application credentials secret base. So now we just added that as well. So that's a good thing. Again, 2SQL crashes for models that live in different schemas. So this was an edge case. I think it was, where was it? It was reported, yeah, by Alan, and we fixed it. So if you had like a table in a different schema, somehow Rails wasn't calling to all before 2SQL, so that would crash, and now this is fixed. Let's get to the features. So as I mentioned, this release is a little bit more assets oriented and styling oriented. So we're introducing the branding feature. This is just amazing. Let me just show you a photo. Branding. Oh, sorry. Branding. Okay. So you can now change the branding, the colors of your Avo instance, but I have a separate video on that, so go check it out. Make the Trix toolbar responsive. So this was, again, Ian, thank you so much. So when you are using a Trix field inside an action, or maybe you had like just where is it? Just smaller space to display things. Let me just find the posts. Actually, where are they? Yeah, perfect. So and hit edit. Whenever you didn't have like enough space, it would just overflow behind the screen. It would just create this scroll bar situation. So Ian made this responsive, and now they just collapse. Everything in the toolbar just collapses, and everything looks a little bit nicer. Thank you, Ian. Use translations for polymorphic class names. Again, Ian, thank you so much. So this was a bug that was happening, I think, in belongs to, where instead of fetching the names from the translation, from the resource translation, we would fetch it from the type from somewhere from around here. So that wasn't right. Thank you, Ian, for this fix. I'm just going to skip these two. feature model to resource mapping. So actually, let's talk about these. I'll have different videos for this. So we're automating, we introduced new commands for custom JavaScript and Tailwind installation to Avo. So basically, if you want to add custom JavaScript or custom styling to Avo, you already could do that, but you'd have to manually add the files. And now we have pushed some updates, and we created some commands that make that easier for you. So you'll have the video in the description for these two PRs, these two features. And the last feature for today, model to resource mapping. So this is an interesting one. It clearly happens to users that are like a little bit more heavy users of the platform. So usually you have like a one-to-one mapping for a model and a resource. So a user model has a user resource, and let's just check that out. User resource. And inside this resource, you configure fields and the filters and actions and everything else. And then whenever you have a has many or belongs to or different association, Avo would be smart enough to figure out, okay, these team members, let me just show you the model. So I have this team, and I have team members has many, and the class name is user, so it's using the user. And now if I go into a team resource, I have the team members as a has many, right? So basically Avo is smart enough to go and check out and see, okay, yeah, this association uses the user model. So I'll go and fetch the user resource and display it. So it goes and fetches the user resource and displays it. So now it's using all the fields and all the filters and all the actions and the view types and everything else for that resource. So now it just uses that user resource. But maybe if we go into the team resource, we want to use, these are maybe too many fields for displaying the user inside the context of a team, right? So maybe you just want to display like the name of that user. So I went ahead and created a user team, actually a team user resource that uses the user model, right? And we want to use this one as the display resource for the team members. And I'm going to go into the team resource under team members as many, and just going to say use resource team user resource. So now if I refresh the page and go down here, you'll see there are, the only field available is ID, but if I go into the team user resource, I'll just use name as text. And now I'm going to refresh the page. And now the user, the resource used for the users inside the context of a team, right? It's the team user resource, right? So now I can more granularly control like which fields should I show, if I want to attach filters or not, if I want to attach actions. So basically it takes this whole area and makes it even more extendable and customizable for you. So we had this use resource option before, but now we figure out it introduces a problem. Now the problem is, I'm going to go into people, maybe. So if I go into users, this will still use the user resource because this is what I map to my menu. But if I go into, let's say, projects and going to hit one project, now a project has many users, but now Avo doesn't really know which resource to use. So what Avo does behind the scenes is goes and says, okay, I know this is a user here, yes, but inside the project resource, I have users as has and belongs to many. I don't have any use resource option, right? So it just says, okay, I need a resource. I need an Avo resource for a user model. So which one is it? And just goes and fetches the first one, right? Because before you had like one-to-one matching. So the first one alphabetically is actually the team user resource, right? Because it's team and then user. And now we basically messed up a little bit the rest of the app, because we were expecting here to use the user resource with all of those fields and all of those filters and actions and everything else. But now it uses the team user resource. So we're introducing something new. that should help with that. So config model resource mapping. And this is a hash where you can say, okay, for the user model, please use user resource, right? And now, if I refresh the page, Avo figures that out and says, okay, I have a user model. What should I use? So before going alphabetically, it's just going to check out like if there's this model resource mapping config, and if that has a user model selected, and says, yeah, I'm going to. So somebody said like this is the default resource for a user model. So somebody specified like, hey, this is going to be the default resource whenever you need a resource for user. Just use the user resource, right? I can say like, I know, active user resource. I can say inactive, whatever floats your boat. So you can here control what kind of resources should be used by default for certain models. So now, again, on a project, you'll see the default value. If I go to users, you'll see the default value. But if I go to teams, because I specified to use that resource, it's just going to use the simple one. Okay, so I hope this is helpful for you guys to make it even a better experience. So you'll find all the, where is it? Mapping. So you'll find all the configuration and everything else under model resource mapping, right? So yep. I hope this helps you make a better experience for your users. I hope this makes for a good release for you guys. I've been out for the past week, so there have been a lot of issues piling up and a lot of pull requests that we're working on. So there are a few very nice things coming together, like the model. We're setting that for actions, so you'll be able to use belongs to and Trix and other dynamic fields in action. So that's very nice. We're still working on the skip show view. It's very close, so you'll be able to not have this show view at all. So whenever you click like on one link, it will just send you to the edit screen. So this is going to be nice for some of you guys. What else? Yep, so Desmond has been working around the clock to make sure we support action policy. We hit some snags there, and we have to see like how we do the testing and everything else, but it's coming along nicely. What else? Lewis, thank you so much. So you should be in the spotlight as well. You've been helping out with custom policies. So Lewis again had something that they needed in their workflow and went and built it. So basically you'll be able to specify like a custom authorization policy for each resource instead of just figuring it out from the resource name and the model. So thank you so much, Lewis. This is close to merging as well. I'm working on some nice like improvements here. Yep. And Paul as well, like batch delete. And okay, the cat is out of the bag. So resource sidebar, this is coming. I hope you like it. Let's see if we have some screenshots. Yeah. So we're planning to bring this thing, this sidebar in. So this will work. We don't know what the styling will be in the end, but we know you have fields that are not meant to be displayed in such a big, such a long horizontal space. So they just make sense to be in a more tiny place. And this is why we created the sidebar, and we still have some kinks to work out, but it's coming. It's close. Coolio. Again, if you haven't subscribed to Short Ruby and you want to find out what Xavier Noria said about constants, or what Brandon Weaver explained a little bit what the ampersand does with a method name, or maybe Joel is doing an amazing job of building FlexFun. So if you want to stay up to date with what happens on Twitter, go to Short Ruby newsletter, so newsletter.shortruby.com, and subscribe. Next up, if there's anybody coming to Wroclaw, this weekend, September 16 to 18, I'll be there. I'm speaking about how to package a Rails engine, so from generation to automation. So everything I learned with about Avo, I'm going to speak at the conference. So come there, say hello. I have stickers and pins and other things. And then if you're in Bucharest the next week, so September 21st, 22nd, we're going to be at How to Web. We're going to have a booth there. I'm going to network with other people from the industry, and so come say hello. Again, we have stickers and pins and other things. So it's going to be pretty crowded 2 weeks, but we're going to also focus on what other features we want to push and listen to your feedback. So thank you so much for being here. Please share Avo with your peers. If you love it, tell them why you love it. If you hate it, tell us why you hate it so we can make it better. And I'll see you in the next video.